Love lives here.
I'd like to start this service this morning with a poem. Peace be unto thee, stranger. Peace be unto thee, stranger. Enter and be not afraid. I have left the gate open, and thou art welcome to my home. There is room in my house for all. I have swept the hearth and lighted the fire. The room is warm and cheerful, and you'll find comfort and rest within. The table is laid, and the fruit of life are spread before thee. The wine is here also. It sparkles in the light. I have set a chair for you where the sunbeams dance through the shade. Sit and rest and refresh your soul. Eat of the fruit and drink of the wine. All is yours, and you are welcome. That is in the first part, the front part of the Science of Mind. And what we're going to be talking about today is real belonging. So we started off talking about integrity, and then we went into stop pretending, remove the mask and hide your authentic self. And today we're going to talk about real belonging. And we're going to hopefully we discover our authentic selves have always belonged. So we started off with that beautiful poem that welcomes everyone in. And that's what we want to do. We want to welcome everyone in. As Ernest Holmes tells us that we are each a part of the universal household of God. The universal household of God. And that is in the Science of Mind, page 533. But I think before we can talk about this idea of real belonging, we have to talk about what it means. I'm having so many problems with this computer this morning. Pop-up ads. I can earn cash back now, but that's not what I want to do right now. So let's see if we can get this off of here. So when we think about the word real, what do we think about? So somebody shout it out to me. When we think about the word real, what does that mean to you? Authentic. Honest. Open, I heard. Genuine. Not artificial. Not pretending. I'm sorry? Vulnerability. Not AI. Darren and I saw a really good movie this weekend about AI, On the Moon. AI was on the moon. Anyway, but that's a good one, not AI. So when we think of the word belonging, we think of what? So we know what real is. What does belonging mean? What does it mean to belong? Being a part of. Connected. Wholeness. All of that, right? Belonging is more than simply being present somewhere. It's a sense of connection, a sense of acceptance, and knowing that you have a place, that you feel valued, that you're welcome. And that's why I wanted to read that poem to start, because it starts off with, you are welcome here. I've lit the fire and, swept the hearth to bring you in to say, welcome, welcome home. So the feeling of being welcome is being valued. So there are two main areas. There's the emotional connection, the feeling of security, the feeling of comfort, and being an essential part of something. And then there is the basic human need. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs tells us that most of all, we want to be accepted. We want to be loved. And we want to feel like we belong to something. And that's crucial. Basically, it's crucial for our mental health and our well-being. And then there is inclusion. We all want to be included. We all want to be wanted, and we want to be included. When we come here, we want to be included, don't we? We don't want to feel like we've stumbled upon some place where we're not wanted, where we're not welcome. So that's why it's so important for us at Riverside CSL. Our theme for this year is we belong. You belong. We belong. And so let's kind of break down a little bit this idea of belonging, because I think it firstly starts when we are born. We're born into a family. And hopefully we're welcomed with loving arms. But that's where it first starts, in our families. And then probably if we were in a home like I was in a home, the next thing that I was introduced is to my outward family, and then church, and then my church family, where I ran around and was accepted by all those people. That became an extension of my parents, actually, because remember back then, if you stepped out of line, there was someone to put you back in line. Amen. So that's our first introduction of belonging. In our families, we're taught then how to act, how to show up, right? How many of you was in the church on the pew and you were kind of making noise and you got popped, or you got pinched, or you got taken out of church into the back room? I never got taken. I was good. I was a good girl. So this idea of being accepted, we learn, our family gives us tools, and then we step outside and we start going to school. And I can remember as a little girl being all that I was, but also wanting to be accepted and wanting to play with my peers. And little kids are funny because they have their own little hierarchy in their play groups. So we learned how to fit in, but is fit in really belonging? It's not, is it? We twist and contort ourselves to be accepted. And so one of the reasons why we came up with these themes is because we were moving from 2024 to 2025, and depending on which way the election went, people need to know that they belong, that you have some place to go where you will be loved and accepted just for who you are and just where you are in your life. And then this year is we belong, because we do. We belong together. So when we put the two words together, it becomes something even much deeper. From just being a part of a family or just being a part of a center or even making friends, real belonging is authentic. It is the authentic experience of being fully known and accepted. To be fully known and accepted. And so in the midst of all of that we were told, and all of that we did when we were younger, being a part of a church. Now, I was a minister's daughter. Imagine the pressure on little old the dreamer, because I was a dreamer. I still am a dreamer. I could spend about a couple of hours just in my head dreaming up stuff. You know, like Alice in Wonderland said, she could think of, I don't know the exact quote, but if you read the book, you know that she was stuck in her head. She was dreaming about all these things. I was a dreamer, but I had to be the minister's daughter. And that was pressure. That was pressure. And if I didn't go to church that day, I was in trouble. I had to stay home all day. I couldn't go outside. So we learn, I'm saying all this to say, we learn all these behaviors and how to fit into the situations that we're in. But is that truly real belonging? It's not. It is not. I was lucky enough to be accepted into an extension of my family, which was my hospital family. And I've probably said this before. It was people that my mom went to school with and worked with, and I was accepted there into this community. So as a child growing up, I never really felt that I couldn't be me, that I could not be me. And I think my mom did a really good job of extending it, promoting that in our household, and having all her children know that you can do and be whatever you want to do and be, and that you are totally accepted. So I didn't know anything else other than that, really. So I just bounced around doing my thing. So when we think about fitting in and we think about this idea of belonging, we can see that in our culture right now. We can see that in our LGBTQ communities. We can see that people are saying, I matter and I belong. We can see that in our African American community that say, we belong. The foundation of this country is built on our backs. We belong here. We have many communities. The Italian community, when they first came over to here, they weren't accepted. I saw a lady on one of the social media channels, and she was Korean. And she was saying, stop telling me that people aren't friendly in Korea when you go visit there. Because all she got when she came here was, go back to your country. Go back to your country. And I thought, I've never thought of it that way. You know? So what is real belonging? And when did we stop knowing or that we belong to something much larger? We belong to something much larger. Martin said it in his prayer. One life. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but we are connected to that one life. That life is God life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. That life is your life now. That life is perfect. That life is God's life. That makes a huge difference when we can embody those teachings and that thought of who we are. That's where our real belonging happens. It happens within us first and foremost. When I can see the beauty in me, then I can see the beauty in you. When you can see the beauty in yourself, then you can see the beauty that exists in this room, that exists out there. You can see the beauty in it all. You with me? I wish my computer was with me. So I had this quote by Brene Brown about belonging versus fitting in, and it says, true belonging only happens when we present our authenticity, our imperfect selves to the world. Our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. Self-acceptance. Who do I need to become so you'll accept me? Should that be my worry? No. That's fitting in. But real belonging asks, can I tell you who I really am? Can I tell you who I really am without judgment? Can I be that vulnerable to walk out in the world and tell people who we really are? So, thinking about the poem that I read earlier, everybody is welcome at the table. Peace be unto thee, stranger. But when you come in, you're no longer a stranger. You are family. We are part of this one big human, spiritual journey, family, expression, all of it. We are one with it. There are no guests. They're just family. There's a song called We Are Family. So maybe the physical journey and the spiritual journey is not about finding a place where we finally belong. Maybe it's about remembering that our belonging has always been rooted in the one life expressing itself through us. That's some good stuff. Maybe it is rooted in the one life expressing itself through all of us. So real belonging isn't finding the right group. It's remembering your true identity. This does not occur just by happenstance. It's intentional. You know, when I first came into the science of mind, it blew my mind. I told you I was a preacher's daughter. And there was a certain way I had to be, had to show up, had to act, had to present, had to do this, had to do that. When I came and found the science of mind, it was so freeing. I get to be who I am authentically, but I also get to take responsibility for how I show up. I don't have to put everything over here and say, God, please forgive me. I get to take responsibility. One of the things that's drew me into this philosophy is the core, we have 10 core concepts. And the first one is oneness. And it goes down, And then there's unity. Oneness and unity. I never had that concept as I was growing up in the church. And maybe a lot of people feels that way. We felt like that God was somewhere out there that I could just lay my burdens down at the altar and everything would be washed away and taken care of. I didn't have to take responsibility for my actions and for the way I show up. But in this philosophy, I learned who I was. I learned the truth of my being. I learned that it is my responsibility to put good things in and so I can get good things out. Our whole teaching symbol here. And it's important that I show up authentically and I spread love into the world. That way it can be reciprocated. And that way there's a ripple effect that takes place. And that vibration of love and energy and healing goes out to our planet. So real belonging is not something that we have to earn. It is simply something that we awaken to. Because the world teaches us that belonging comes through fitting in, achieving enough, believing the right things, and looking the right way or being accepted by the right people. What we know here, that Science of Mind teaches something radically different, that we belong because there is only one life expressing itself as each of us. We cannot fall outside of God because there is nowhere that God is not. And our work is not to become worthy of belonging. It is to remember that we have always belonged. We have always belonged. And so in knowing that, we may walk closer to revealing our authentic selves. Okay, and so it is. And so it is. Okay, so the homework is to name and notice. Name and notice. And so this week, learn or relearn a name of two people. Then notice them. Not what they do, who they are, and tell them one beautiful quality that you see in them. It might be, I appreciate your kindness. It might be, you bring joy wherever you go. It might be just to say hello. In every smile and every inflection of your voice, to appreciate someone, to create this thing that we call real belonging. And so I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to show you, demonstrate it. And I'm going to say, Helen, I love to hear you laugh. When you laugh, it just lights up the room. And that's a quality that I have learned about Helen. And tomorrow, when you tell a story, I'm all in. So I see both of you. And that's not all the qualities, of course, that I see, but those are the ones that I wanted to bring out today because it brings me joy. So I just invite our practitioners and our ministers and our leadership council to stand around and flank the community as we move into prayer. And just taking a deep breath and recognizing this power, this presence that I call God, the living Spirit Almighty that lives and moves and has its being in and through me and in and through all. I recognize that to be the power and the presence of love, the power and the presence of acceptance, the power and presence of who we are internally, inwardly. And so we come here today to just anchor ourselves in that, knowing that we are one with the divine, that all beings are one with the divine. And so that is truly real belonging when we understand that it is all taking place within us, that there's no separation from God. So we have belonged since the day we arrived on this planet, and even before that, we were connected to the divine. The one and only love, the one and only life that we move and have our being in is the life of God. And so I just bless this day. I bless for all that it is. I bless for all that it isn't. I bless that we have gained some insights and some knowledge today on what real belonging is, and that we move from this place not to just fit in, but to reveal and share our authentic selves, to know within that we are one with God, and then to express that and let our light shine so fully in this world. I heard a song this morning, I am light, I am light. And it's not because someone told me that I was accepted, but it is because I know that I'm accepted, and I know that I'm one with the divine, and so are you. So I just bless this day. I bless all that it has been. I bless everything that has transpired in this place. And we move forward and we take this out into the world, because that is the remembrance. And so I let go and I let God, and so it is. All right, let's say our affirmation now. The affirmation is on the screen. I will say it, and then we say it together. So the affirmation for this week is, I belong here. We belong to each other. Now let's say that together. I belong here. We belong to each other. All right, something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. I receive it. And I move love forward because love lives here. Happy Sunday, everybody.